Great news, everyone! Our MVP is a total success. Many travelers are using our application to find their space train ahead to their trip to Mandalore. Although you could say it's suffering from its success because a lot of people just end up showing up at the spaceport only to be told that all the space trains are already full.
Oh, brilliant. I would love to meet the mastermind who thought that an MVP which only displays the next schedules without the ability to booking them was a fantastic idea. Truly groundbreaking stuff.
Well, now booking is on the roadmap so we can start implementing it. And I was thinking we could just brainstorm a bit on the front end and see how we could change that. So here we have the outbound and the inbound space train matching our search criteria. I was thinking maybe we could just first...
You're talking too much. Since I know you made bad choices for the MVP, I implemented the booking feature and this is already up and running in production.
You did what?
There's too many lessons. So I simply implemented the feature everyone was waiting for. I didn't understand why you put it away from the MVP, because it was quite easy to do. But I will do a little demonstration to show you that this is working well. So this is our search room.
Oh, you scared me. I thought you changed something.
No, because this part didn't have to change. The change comes later. Let me show you. So here you can still choose between doing a one-way or a round trip. And let's say we want to depart from Coruscant. And obviously, we want to move to Mandalore.
Obviously.
But now, when you hit search, you no longer see at the same time the outbound or the inbound space trains. We only display the outbound ones and the user can choose between first or second class fare. So let's say we select the first class fare, and as you can see here, it has populated the selection panel on the right.
Yeah, what I can see is that you managed to deploy some code that's just broken in production. I can't even click book.
But that's normal when I ask for a round trip. So I have to select here an inbound space train. So that's why here the rest of the UI has changed and displays me inbound space trains.
Yeah, so you have the choice between one space train at the busiest time of the year?
Yeah, because this is the only one compatible with my selection. Can I proceed or you want to criticize everything?
Go on, go on.
Okay, so let's say we want to go back with a second class fare here. And now you can see that the selection is complete because I can hit here the book button. And by doing so, the trip is booked, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here this is a booking summary page that says that for the outbound, we are using the first class, second class for the inbound. And here the total price, which include the taxes for the user.
Okay, I'm impressed. I have to admit you did manage to write some code that compiles.
But it does more than compiling, it is working. I just did a demonstration of that.
Yeah, let's make a quick code review to make sure of that.
Okay, you can call that first. But let me check out my BBOM branch first.
Why would you call that BBOM?
Because that's the best backend of Mandalore.
Are you sure it's not because it's a big ball of mud?
What do you mean?
Well, you have only one domain here, right?
Yes.
And in one domain you have both booking and search. Two very different concerns, and on top of it they have completely disjointed life cycles. The booking happens after the search. When you have something like this, you need to go microservices.
Microservices?
This is the way.
But not at all, man. You're talking about a fancy architecture style you've seen during one presentation, but it doesn't apply there.
Why not?
Because booking and search are way too coupled together. And the booking does only one thing here, as you can see. It computes the total price only. It doesn't deserve its own microservice just for that.
Well, it does only one thing, but clearly it's doing it really weirdly. To compute the total price of the booking, you need for each space train to add the price of the first of the fares. What does that mean, the first of the fares? Come on.
Okay, I will explain you, but remember first, I'm a 10x Monolarian, right? So I know how to code fast.
This again.
Yeah, so here you can see that the booking is using the space train class. But that class was made first for the search, which is why here you have a list of fares. Mm-hmm. Remember, you can choose between first, second class. When I had to implement the booking feature, I also have to represent a space train, right, in the booking summary page. But in that case, there's only one fare, the one that has been selected. So since I don't want to reinvent the wheel again and I don't want to repeat myself, I simply have to reuse that space train by doing this little adaptation here. I know I can call safely first in the case of the booking in the list of fares, because there's a single value on that, and I'm saving a lot of money from the company.
Oh yeah, calling it safely. What could go wrong just presuming you have a single value in a list? You're not a 10x Mandalorian. You don't go 10 times faster than everyone, I just end up doing 90% of your job, and what you have here is called a model tension, because you said it yourself, you reuse the space train that was made for the search. This is a booking, it just doesn't work. So what will a space train in a booking microservice actually look like? We don't care about bound, we already have selected the space train. We don't care about compatible space train because we've already selected it once again.
Ooh.
Yep, that's stop.
I mean, hopefully someone on the backstage can do something with the sound because it's a nightmare.
It's a bit hardcore, yeah. We don't need multiple sphere, we need a single one, the one that was already selected. And on top of this, everything that's inside this class, we don't care about it, we just removed. It's related to stuff we just removed. So the space train for the booking is much more focused and much more simple. But more importantly, when we go back to the booking here, we can get rid of this one model tension. And we have actual structural safety when calling the fare.
Okay, so if I understand well what you want to do, you want to duplicate all the classes here to go microservices in order to simplify a single line of code there? Are you totally mad?
It's not about the line of code, it's about models. But since you don't get that, let me try to explain it to you a bit more visually. So this right here is a big ball of mud you just coded, your spaghetti monolith, right? And inside of it, there is a second implicit model for the booking, which reuses parts of the search model. Now, you want to duplicate all the classes concerned and to specialize them in a booking microservice so that you can have decoupling.
Okay, now I can clearly see you're an architect.
Thank you.
Because with you guys, it always compiles on paper, but in production, this is another story.
That's just a cliche.
No, it's not a cliche. I will show you that with real stuff, the code. So, if you understand what you want to do, you want to specialize the code for the booking like what you did for the space train, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what you will do regarding the schedule for the booking?
Sure.
How will you specialize it?
Sure, so, okay, departure time, we still need that. Arrival time, we'll still need that. The duration between the departure and
Yes.
the arrival, we'll still need it.
You still need to compute, to make sure, that the departure is after now, because you don't want to book train in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And also that the arrival is after its departure, because, oh, great architect, I think we didn't invent time travel yet.
Okay, you have one class that's going to be the same between two microservices.
It's not one class, because unlike you, me, I'm writing something which is called the test. And all the tests, you will have to duplicate it as well.
You understand very well what I mean. It's one concept.
It's not one concept, because you're saying that because you don't know the code and the domain here. If we're going to the next concept here, the fare, what do we have here? A comfort class. First, second, perhaps we become blue and yellow in the case of the booking.
No, of course
No,
not.
obviously not. Then here we have the price. In the price we have the amount and the currency. I'm pretty sure we won't keep all those things together for the booking.
Sure.
Here we have ability to sum prices, and if we do, we'd like to make sure their currency match.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what do we have? Here the currency, a simple list of currencies. I'm pretty sure you would like to have it the same way in both cases.
Yes.
Okay, and then here the amount, which only do one thing. It makes sure that the value is strictly positive. But perhaps the guy here wants that to be negative in the case of the booking, so we can pay our users to travel with us. This is a great marketing campaign, your microservices.
Okay, that's enough. I get it. There's a lot of duplication, but it's a trade-off. This is the price to pay for decoupling.
It's not a trade-off when you have to pay twice the same application. You microservices fanboy, you always make the same mistakes. You thought that by duplicating here, you earn decoupling.
I mean, it's pretty obvious here.
But no, man, that's just paper. This is a schema. Because in our case, the schedule, the price, the comfort class, and the fare, they are exactly the same functionally from functional standpoint. So you cannot be sure in the future that they won't need to evolve the same way in both cases. For example, the galactic time zones. This is a real pain, yes, to implement. You agree?
Yeah.
You really want that to be made twice in the schedule of the search and in the schedule of the booking?
Okay, I have to admit this one is a pain in the ass.
Exactly. So duplicating does not necessarily mean decoupling when the things are conceptually coupled, just like here. And furthermore, you are trolling me because I created a big ball of mud, a spaghetti monolith. But like I said, search and booking, they are coupled together. And when today they're actually talking with each other, they are doing that through method calls. If you go microservices, what it will become?
Network calls?
It has the same cost than method calls, perhaps.
No, it doesn't,
Yeah,
but...
it doesn't, because here you will just scale the cost of the development, the deployment, the debugging, and so on. And because here, the things are conceptually coupled, if then you have to implement the galactic time zones, you do that in the schedule of the search, the schedule of the booking, and then you have to deliver two microservices at the same time. Is that even permitted by the microservices philosophy?
This is not the way.
This is not the way, because here you created something even worse, which is a distributed monolith.
Okay, I get your point, and I understand that there is still a lot of duplication and coupling, but it's only because we haven't found the right boundary between the search and the booking.
No, it's not a matter of that. I disagree. We are trying to split into services too early.
No, I think if we use an operator approach, we can find this boundary better.
And how?
We can ask the intern.
I'm not him. I don't like droids. I don't see the point using them.
We have to supervise its learning, and the point is simple. We give it all the boring and menial stuff, and we do the fun ones.
Like what? We give them the code to write, and on our side, we will just write Jira tickets and estimate that in user story point. That will become our job.
And we'll make Confluence pages with UML diagrams.
Confluence pages?
Okay, chat3PO.
Hello, Master. How may I be of service to you today?
Split the domains, droid.
On what basis should I make such a pivotal decision? Should I leave it to chance or perhaps seek counsel from the latest gossip droid? Why not employ that organic lump you refer to as a brain?
I think I like him after all.
Well, I don't.
He's right, you're never using your organic lump as a brain.
Oh, you're the expert on lump, given what you just coded, I guess.
Come on. But I have to admit, you have a point. Maybe there is too many coupling in what I did.
Thank you.
Oh, come on. And perhaps, like you said, the search and the booking has disjointed life cycles. It's true that once we converted a search into a booking, we no longer care about that search. And then they also have different lifespans. The search lasts for something like 10 minutes, while the booking can last more than 3 months.
Precisely.
So maybe we can find a better way to modularize what I did. And maybe the problem is that we try to do so through the concepts. What if here we try to find boundaries for responsibilities in the big ball of mud, but through the behaviors instead?
Well, analyzing behaviors to do domain-driven design, I guess. This is the way.
This is the way. So let's go here in the code, and you will see that all the behaviors are implemented in Model Express here, which is the domain service of our application.
Called Model Express because it's the entry point of the application.
Exactly. As you can see here, it implements several interfaces, which represent the features of our application.
Okay, so we could split along the lines of this implementation.
Exactly.
Retrieve spaceport, search for space train, and select space train. I know these trees are used for the search, right?
Exactly. I just added here the book space train feature. So we can split the implementation according to these groups of features.
And where are these features defined?
So they are here, all gathered in an API package, all together at the root level of the domain.
Okay, so pretty straightforward. We can just send book space train in a booking microservice and the rest into a search microservice.
Yeah, why not? So then, going back here to Model Express, as you can see here, we have dependencies. Those things are repositories, the way to access the persistence layers through the infrastructure. So I just added the bookings repository for the book space train feature. I know it's only used there.
Okay, so we can just split along the lines of these repositories as well. And where are they defined, these repositories?
So those things here are also interfaces in the SPI package inside the domain.
Okay, so pretty easy. Once again, we just take the booking and its default implementation to a booking microservice and the rest to the search microservice.
You know what? Let's try to first have 2 different modules in place for the booking and the search, making sure they are not dependent, they are decoupled, otherwise, in order to avoid becoming a distributed monolith.
Sure, if you want.
Okay, so chat3PO, create 2 new domains, search and booking, and duplicate Model Express and specialize it in a way that it respects the cut we defined with Josian.
And we have to rename it. We can't have Model Express on both sides. We could have Space Train Finder in the search and
Space Train Booker in the booking.
That works.
Another day, another opportunity to dazzle the universe with my brilliance.
It has a voice mode.
Yeah, it's pretty handy, but you will see it's really full of himself. So here, as you can see, there's a booking and the search domain. Now, in the booking, we have the API, the feature book space train, the bookings repository, a space train booker, which was Model Express that has been cleaned up from the responsibilities of the search. On the other hand, here we have the search with the responsibilities of the search, the features, the repositories, and space train booker, which was Model Express that has been cleaned up from the responsibilities of the booking this time.
Okay, so we're done with the implementation. We can probably move on with the main concept that are the most straightforward, right?
Yeah, it's true. So chat3PO moved booking and search in their own domain.
Here I am, brain the size of a planet, and they ask me to move some files around.
This is your ego that has the size of a planet.
It's not that bad, I could have said that.
I don't want to know that. Anyway, so okay, so as you can see here, we have the booking, it's in its own domain as well as the search here. So that was the easy part, right? But we still have some other concepts such as the criteria, the selection, the spaceport, the space train. This is still in the legacy part. We need to dispatch all these concepts, and to make a decision about them, you can go through one of the main concepts, such as here the booking, see its dependencies to take a decision.
Well, in the case of the space train, it's pretty easy. I already showed you what it could look like for the booking.
Yeah, it's true. So SHA-3PO moves space train from the legacy part, duplicate it inside each domain, but in the booking, make sure it doesn't have any bounds, no compatible space train, it has a single fare.
Do organics even have fingers?
If you keep this up, you'll see mine from really close.
You're not allowed to eat droids, that's forbidden.
Boring.
Okay, so let's see what it has done here. So the space train disappeared from the legacy package here. We should have one in the in the search. That looks like what we used to have with the list of fares. Makes sense. But in the booking, we should have a new one that looks like what you showed us before.
And more importantly, if we go to booking, we should get rid of the model tension that we had.
Oh, the code you wrote does not even compile.
SHA-3PO, the entire reason we're doing this is to get rid of this one model tension. You know, I think it really doesn't understand what we're doing, so let me try to explain it a bit more visually once again. As we accept that the boundary between search and booking is still a bit blurry, we try to go through the behavior in order to refine it. Behaviors that are implemented in Mandalore Express, the domain service or application. We split that between the space train finder in the search and the space train booker in the booking. This shows that search and booking are each used in their own domain, so we dispatch them. Now, both of them use space train in a very different way. They need a different space train, because for the search they need a space train with multiple fares to choose from, and for the booking with a single selected fare. So we duplicate and specialize space train in each domain. And saying it like this, it makes me realize that the model tension is actually on the fare, because if we duplicate and rename it, we'll see that on one side we have a fare option, and on the other side a selected fare, which is different.
Okay, so let's proceed with that. So for now, the fare is inside this legacy part. So SHA-3PO move fare in each domain, but rename that fare option in the search and selected fare in the booking, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
I'm getting so bored.
Oh, if you think this is dull, I'm sending you to PI planning.
Even that, it's forbidden. It's now considered as tortured, even for droids.
Yeah, if we can't hit them, we definitely can do that.
Okay, so let's see here. Fare disappeared, but in the search we have a fare option, and in the booking now we have a selected fare. So if I understand well, it's not because they have the same structure that they are the same thing. It's like having a human class with a string as a name and a dog class with a string as a name. You're definitely you don't want to consider this is the same thing as your application.
Exactly. It's not because it quacks like a dog that it is a duck.
Unless you're writing some TypeScript.
Oh, you have a real language here.
This is another story because of the duck typing, right? Okay, so I think we're done with the space train. The next concept here is the schedule.
And I feel like we're running in circle.
It's true that this one has to remain exactly the same for both booking and search. But maybe I have one other option.
What do you have in mind?
What about using a pattern from domain-driven design, which is named the shared kernel?
No.
Why not?
Because if you have a shared kernel, we'll end up sharing code, which means we can't go to microservices.
But that's the point. We won't do microservices.
We just had this conversation.
Not exactly. We say that if we were able to have modules that are decoupled, we may go to microservices, but here that won't be the case, because search and bookings they need both the schedule, the amount, the comfort class, the price, and the currency and the price exactly the same way. If you go microservices, you will create here a distributed monolith. By doing here a search kernel, you will avoid unnecessary duplication and without paying the scale cost of the microservices.
Okay, just do whatever you want.
Okay, so SHA-3PO create a shared kernel at the same level as booking and search and put all those concepts here I just mentioned inside it.
Like I got nothing better to do.
Does it?
No, it's just trolling us. So here we have our new shared kernel, right? In the search here, we have in the space train, the usage of the schedule that comes from that shared kernel, as well as the space train of the booking that has also here a schedule, which is exactly the same thing. So here we avoided unnecessary duplication, and also for the production code, but for the test as well.
Come on, just finish what you started. You didn't finish that.
What do you mean?
Well, you still have the criteria outside, you still have the selection, you left the spaceport and even the bound. Just put all that in your shared kernel, recreate your big ball of mud but inside the shared kernel package.
But that's not, this is not what we are doing so far.
It looks like it, honestly.
No. You're as stupid as this droid. You don't understand what
It's not very clear, you're not explaining very well.
Okay, I will try to explain it in another way. So here, let's go to inside the booking and let's see from where it takes its concepts. You can see that it can come either from the booking package, like here, the booking domain, like the space train, or from the shared kernel, like the price, because it shares the price representation with the search. Going inside the space train here, it's using the schedule from the shared kernel and the selected space train, selected fare from the booking. The selected fare here only uses concept from the shared kernel. So here, we went through all the concept of the booking. And at no time you have seen any mention of selection, criteria, bound, and so on. Because they were not made for that. They're only used for the search. If you put that in the shared kernel, you would just reproduce the problem I had at the beginning, reusing a space train with a list of fare. That doesn't make sense for the booking.
Exactly. And if later on, when we're working on the booking, we need some similar concept, if they're already here, we'll be extremely biased toward reusing the ones from the search, creating additional coupling.
Exactly. You will just recreate your spaghetti monolith through the shared kernel. So in fact, Chat3PO move all the remaining concepts in the search domain because they are only used there.
Okay, IntelliJ, do what he said.
I didn't know IntelliJ has that kind of feature.
Pretty sure it doesn't.
Okay, so let's see here. We have something really clean with the booking, the search, and the shared kernel.
Yes, also I'm not sure which concept went where.
Looks like you only understand drawings, so let's do that.
Thank you.
So here we moved bound, criteria, selection, and so on in the search domain because they are only used there. And what remains in between will constitute our shared kernel. It represents the intersection between our domains, search and booking.
More than this, it represents the area of uncertainty where we believe that the boundary resides, but we're not sure exactly where.
Exactly. And later, if you discover that the booking needs the criteria and the bound exactly the same way it has been defined for the search, you simply have to move all the things inside the shared kernel along with their test without unnecessary duplication.
Okay, it's pretty convenient, but our work here is not done because the space train booker actually has some compilation error in the pipeline.
So let's see that. So inside the booking.
Yep. Booker. Yep. Here's the error. We need the space train from the booking and we got a space train from the search. I'm pretty sure this droid forgot to just do the import.
Yeah, I think
here it
this
is.
is the wrong import.
Yeah, so let's just get a space train from the booking instead. We have more errors now. Obviously, it's not the same space train, so the constructor changed. We don't need the bound anymore. We don't need compatible space train. And here, we just need a selected fare, so let's just get that. Send that to production, Chat3PO. Wait a second, we're in booking here, right?
Yes.
Why do we have the search in the middle? If we have the search in the middle of the booking, it means we're importing potentially any concept that comes from the search.
But that's the point, man. That's the reason why I didn't split those things at the beginning. They're way too coupled, I said that already. We're running in circles, but now I have the code in front of me, I can explain you why. Here, to create a booking, we need first to check that inside the search, the selection is complete.
So you're protecting the booking from states of the search that are not compatible?
Exactly. And then I need to retrieve the selected space train from the search and convert them to the space train of the booking because they have different models now.
So you're translating a model of the search into a model of the booking?
Yes.
You really don't see what I'm getting at?
You decided to paraphrase me, that's all.
Just back to the drawing board.
Not again.
As you can see, you import search inside of the booking, which means potentially you're contaminating it with anything that comes from the search. All that because you tried to translate a space train from the search into a space train of the booking. You tried to make an anti-corruption layer.
Okay, so it's a good thing, right? Why are you yelling at me like that?
It's a good thing if it prevents corruption. You can clearly see that it's not the case here. Now, if you want to protect yourself from the concept of the search, you need to move the anti-corruption layer outside of the booking where it can import them safely.
And how do you do that?
Pretty easy. You ask the droid.
Okay.
Hey, Chat3PO, extract the anti-corruption layer. Okay, Chat3PO, extract the anti-corruption layer.
I think it doesn't recognize your authority.
I think it's a Mandalorian accent issue.
No. Let me try. Chat3PO, extract the anti-corruption layer.
How could I possibly resist the opportunity to perform another menial task for... Okay, wait. I have fashioned an anti-corruption layer, relocated the tests, and adapted the infrastructure.
This is what I call authority.
I guess I can understand Mandalorian culture in the end.
They don't like nerfs. Okay, so let's see what he has done, because I'm not comfortable with his code.
Well, we removed every use of search right now. We only have imports of the booking. And that's possible because we're using only the search ID, which is just a UID.
Okay, but how does it work? Because we still need to make sure that the section is complete inside the search.
And we still do, but we do it from a dependency that is injected inside the space train booker.
Okay, can you show me what is the selection stuff here, this dependency?
Sure.
Okay, so this is an interface that is defined the SPI of the booking domain. So it means the booking defines an interface that someone else will implement to offer him a service.
Yep.
But who is that someone else?
Well, unlike traditional SPI, which are implemented in the infrastructure, this one is implemented in an anti-corruption layer, which is a domain package outside of both booking and search. And because it's outside of both domain, it can safely import interfaces from the booking that it needs to implement and concepts from the search that it needs to implement this behavior.
Okay, so here he put the conversion code we had that transform a space train from the search to the space train of the booking.
Exactly.
And because it implements the interfaces of the booking, we'll be able to inject an anti-corruption layer inside the booking without contaminating it with the search concept, because they're only used internally in the implementation. So it's basically dependency injection.
Exactly, which allows us to have something like this: the booking, the search, the anti-corruption layer, and the shared kernel, about which I'm not sure what we should do.
Okay, so I think for now, we don't have enough hypothesis to make a decision about what remains inside. We should still accept that the boundaries between our domains are blurry. Anyway, you will have to wait because we have a really urgent feature to implement.
And when is the last time we had a non-urgent feature to implement?
Yeah, you know product owners, right?
Sadly.
So this is the booking summary page, right? We had to add here the tax portion that is included inside the total price here, because without this information, our corporate travelers, they're not able to expense their trip.
How fun, an accounting feature. Hey, let's turn that into a learning opportunity and not a larceny opportunity.
Okay, let's try. So Chat3PO implement the tax portion computation in the booking domain, because we don't need that in the search, by applying a 20% rate for the first class and 10% for the second class.
Oh, and if you touch the shared kernel, I'm selling you in part 2 Jawas.
I think you are mistaken me with your genie of the lamp. Implementing in the selected fare of the booking. Incompatible instructions exception.
Did it crash?
I've never seen a genie of the lamp doing that before.
So he said it was in the selected fare? Okay. Oh, the code he wrote does not compile once again.
Yeah, but it does make sense from a business perspective, because to compute the tax portion of the selected fare, we get the tax portion of the price based on the tax rate of the comfort class. Honestly, this makes sense. Let me just implement this this function here. Yep.
Oh, wait.
Yes, you're
He
escaping.
wrote the code, but he put that in comments. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm done trying to understand this droid, honestly. So I'll just trust it with the implementation and do the import that are missing. No, misclicked. I hate your keyboard, man.
Yeah, it's just you're an architect. You don't know how to code. But I'm an architect myself, so I can say that. You know what? I think I understand now why he crashed.
Why?
You told him that he shouldn't touch the shared kernel.
Yes.
And here we just imported tax rate and tax portion. And if I'm not wrong, they belongs to the booking domain.
Right.
Inside the price, which belong to the shared kernel. So you just contaminated the shared kernel with booking concepts. And because the search is using the same price, you just coupled search with booking together.
I mean, it's pretty obvious what we have to do in this situation. Do we need to tell it everything?
I think that even with AI, we have to make the implicit explicit. And furthermore, there is one other compilation error here. Let's see what's the problem with that. So it looks like in the comfort class, he tried to make here a mapping with the tax rate, but this is the same story because the tax rate belongs to the booking domain while the comfort class is inside the shared kernel. So SHA-3PO here, this is a model tension. You cannot leave it that way, otherwise you would just contaminate the shared kernel with the booking and you will just create a spaghetti monolith. It's now time to duplicate and specialize comfort class and price in each domain, making sure that their version of the booking are the only one having the tax portion computation.
I'm just a bit more useful than a Scrum Master. How extraordinary.
No. That's really bad. You
I
cannot say that. We said that already. You cannot troll the Scrum Masters.
We have no idea where it gets that from, honestly.
Yeah. I have no idea at all. Okay, so here, let's see what it has done. In the shared kernel, you no longer have anything related to comfort class and price. But now we have a new version. No, not this one. This is a booking here. In the search, as you can see here, we should have a comfort class without any tax rate mapping, a price without any tax portion computation. This is for the search. And in the booking, it should be the opposite, right? The comfort class has the tax rate mapping, and the price here has the tax portion computation.
Yeah, and it's lit up like a Christmas tree because here we have a beautiful compilation error. SHA-3PO, you cannot multiply the record with a value unless you add the times function. It's just not that hard. Okay, so we just need to multiply the amount value with the tax ratio, send that to production, and we should be good.
I think he doesn't understand what we're doing so far, so let's supervise a bit his learning.
Clearly.
Right? So SHA-3PO here, we implemented a new feature, the tax portion computation in the booking. We created then two new concepts, tax rate, tax portion, in the booking domain. But he creates some kind of pressure on the price and the comfort class of the shared kernel that need to evolve to take them into account. This is a model tension. You cannot leave it that way, otherwise you will contaminate the shared kernel with the booking, coupling the search with the booking through that. So it's now time to duplicate all the things, making sure that their version here in blue of comfort class and price are the only one having the tax portion computation.
Well, it's not perfect, but it's pretty convenient vibing with it. And what's the worst that could happen? Is that the fire alarm?
I'm not sure.
Alert, alert. The last release introduced a bug in production. Our travelers cannot open past bookings. I was able to reproduce the problem. I'm opening the front end on one problematic booking. Congratulations, you just demonstrated that organics are not yet ready to replace artificial intelligences.
What are you on about? Like, you're the one who messed up the deployment. The code was fine.
What drama dread. So, if I understand, we are not able to open past booking, which is annoying for the expense feature, right? If we do so, here we have an error that says departure cannot be in the past. So let's see where this error happened in the code. Okay, so it was departure cannot be in the past. Okay, this is the test, so it should be here. Yeah. Oh, this is inside the schedule. Hey, it's true that we make sure that departure is always in the future.
Well. How's the turntables? I told you we had to specialize and duplicate and specialize the schedule.
When you say that we didn't have this expense feature, we had no need to open past bookings.
Fair enough.
But now you're right. Now we have to do something with it. But it's not quite easy, right? Because when you're about to book, you don't want to book train in the past. So departure should be in the future. But once finalized this booking, it's okay to have departure in the past because it means that this is a past booking.
So what you mean is that in the case of the booking, this invariant still exists, but it depends only on the state, mostly on the state of the booking. So we should move it to the booking instead.
Exactly. So SHA-3PO here, that's a bit more subtle, but this is still model tension. Now, in the case of the booking, this check depends on the state of the booking. So you should specialize schedule in each domain and making sure that in the case of the booking, we check that only if the booking is not finalized yet.
This project clearly lies on my shoulders.
Oh, my headache lies on your shoulders.
Did he change his profile picture?
I'm sure it's nothing.
You sure?
Most likely.
Okay, so here we no longer have any schedule in the shared canal. In the search, we have one that looks like what we used to have. And in the booking, we have one that no longer checked that departure is inside in the future.
Although we still should have this invariant. Yeah, we have a new one here inside of the booking, where we have as no departure in the past when new booking, checking that either the booking is finalized or all the space train have their departure in the future. Pretty good. Send that to production and fix the error. And now I'll try to explain it again why it's wrong. So Chat3PO, you introduced a new model tension, but this time on the schedule, because the invariants are not the same for the search and booking, which means the states that are acceptable for each domain is not the same for the schedule. We duplicate and spatialize it, like always. What should we do, however, with this remnant of a shared kernel here, because it still prevents us from going microservices?
I thought we had this discussion already and we won't do microservices.
I think you'll agree, even you will agree this time, because if you check the usage metrics we have, you can see that even though booking is more and more used, there is even more use of searches and it's growing even faster.
It's true that we have seen our users doing 10 search to find the space trains they want to book.
Exactly, and they have very different rates of read and write. So if we had different microservices, we could optimize it and do some FinOps to save a lot of money on infrastructure cost. But on top of it, if you check the code changes per domain, you can see that we've been mostly modifying the booking recently. We don't really touch the search anymore.
Oh, it's true that the search is quite old, but stable. The booking is new, so the feature pressure is on that. What implies that we may introduce a new change inside the booking that can create an outage.
Yes.
So the search will no longer work, even though we didn't touch it at all.
So
what?
So we need microservices, you agree?
Okay, so I agree that now we need separated runtimes because of these business reasons. But I won't say microservices, otherwise you will argue this is 10 or 11 line of code, a good microservice.
Everybody knows it's 20.
Not at all.
So what should we do with this shared canal?
Okay, so let's see the code to take a decision here. Let's clean up all the things here. Okay. So what remains in the shared canal is amount and currency. Oh, there's something here, the tax ratio. Should it be there? This is the concept of the booking.
It's just a big decimal. It's not actually an import from the booking.
You're right, but still, the tax ratio here is a part of the language of the booking. So this is a conceptual pollution. But furthermore, here the times function, we add it here only for the tax portion computation. So here we can specialize amount in a way that its version of the booking is the only one having the times function.
Okay, so let's do this, and that will leave us only with the currency.
Okay, so here there's no business logic, there's no complexity, and this is quite stable, right? We don't change currencies every day.
Yep.
So we can take a trade-off by duplicating it as it in each case, because the risk of creating a distributed monolith because of that is pretty low.
Yeah, and worst case, if we need to change the imperial credit on both microservices, we'll survive changing one line.
But you know what? Maybe there's another option.
What do you have in mind?
So let's go back to the state where amount and currencies are together inside the shared kernel. What if here I'm renaming tax ratio to scalar? What do you think about that?
Well, you do get rid of the conceptual pollution, but you said it yourself, the times function is only used by the booking. If we leave it here, it's like we're using the amount like a library. It's a bit weird.
But that's a bit the point, because from the standpoint of amount, having arithmetic separation makes sense. And we have here plus minus times, and we could have also divide. But this is not the only point, because inside the shared kernel, we have the currency. And they are always used together. And sometimes together they represent the price, sometimes together they represent a discount, and sometimes they represent a tax.
I see what you mean. This is actually the money pattern.
Exactly. So we end up with the anti-corruption layer, the booking domain, the money, and the search domains. So in fact, what was hidden inside this shared kernel is what we call is the money domain, right? And we can do then a context map to know what we should do about it. So we won't have time to explain what is a context map, but if we do so, you will discover that this is a generic subdomain. It means that this is not something specific to our needs. It's true that we are an online travel company. We don't have any special way to represent an amount or currency. We can get rid of that code and use instead an off-the-shelf open source library such as Yoda Money.
True. And now that it's not a shared kernel anymore, we're not going to be tempted to put stuff from the search or the booking inside the money package, right? So now we know that all the communication goes through the ACL. We have very low risk of pollution, so we can go safely to microservices.
That was a pretty long stand-up, 40 minutes.
Pretty standard by my book.
No, we were the two first, and they all have to pass and say what they did yesterday or what they will do today.
Okay, no offense, I really don't care about who needs to change what line of CSS, but you know, they could listen to the pretty high-level discussion between architects. I think we should just make sure they understand it properly.
So, it looks like you're as full of yourself than this droid. Was it trained on your brain?
You noticed?
Oh, come on. But yeah, maybe from this discussion, you've seen that there is a pattern that has emerged that looks like a cellular mitosis.
I mean, if you squint a bit, I guess.
Yes, you squint a lot. But, like George Box said, all models are wrong, but some are useful. And this one is especially useful when you start with an application that has a single responsibility or is an MVP. As the time passes, you add more and more responsibilities until one day you had one which is a bit orthogonal with the original purpose of your application. This will create some pressure on the existing concept that will try to solve at the same time orthogonal problems. If you leave it that way, you will create here a spaghetti monolith. So now it's time to create modules and dispatch the behaviors in these modules. And you will see that some concepts will go on a side or the other side. And what will remain in between will constitute our shared kernel.
Transitional shared kernel, because as we add more and more complexity on one side or the other, we said it before, the shared kernel is the area of uncertainty of the boundary between our model. So we'll be able to place this boundary a bit better, which means that the shared kernel will shrink.
But the thing is, the shared kernel is not a common library, right, or common package. Here you only put business concepts. But there are also some rules to follow. Everything inside the shared kernel must have exactly the same meaning, functional meaning, the same representation regarding structure and types, the same invariants, business logic that are always true, and the business rules.
And this must be true for every single bounded context that shares this shared kernel. Bounded context can be a service, it can be a module, etc. Which also means that if you have multiple teams working on the same shared kernel, every time you're going to change it, you need to check with everyone that you're respecting these rules, which means you're coupling your cognitive load with the one of other teams.
So that's why we discourage sharing shared kernel between teams.
Exactly. So now we have these rules that we can use as heuristics to detect when there are new model tensions. As we'll add new features, we'll be tempted to change the shared kernel in a way that goes against one of these rules. This means it's the time to just duplicate and specialize a concept outside of the shared kernel.
But keep in mind that when you're doing that, sometimes your concept will have a change of meaning. For example, we used to have a fare inside the shared kernel that became a fare option in the search and a selected fare inside the booking.
Now, this is an iterative process, which means we keep adding more feature, we have more model tension, and it's still the same process. We duplicate and we specialize them on each side, until eventually it becomes stable, and we may end up with a residual shared kernel that we just can't get rid of.
And this is totally fine, because what you created here is a modular monolith. You won't pay the scale cost of the microservices if you don't have reason to go microservices.
But sometimes you have actual business reasons to go microservices, which means not wanting, I want to put Kubernetes on my resume. This is not a business reason. When it's the case, you can just duplicate whatever is left of your residual shared kernel on both sides.
But only if what remains is stable, doesn't have a lot of business logic and not complexity. Otherwise, you will just create a distributed monolith, which is even worse than a spaghetti monolith.
Like when we had only the currency left.
Exactly. And even if you are able to have different here modules, you don't have to go to microservices if you don't have reason. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you will see, and we'll end on that, that instead of shrinking, the shared kernel grows in complexity, adding more and more features here and behaviors. That might be the sign that, in fact, this is a hidden domain, and a context map will help you to know, is that a library? Is that a new service? Should I integrate that on one of the other web services and so on? I think we're done.
Yeah, we can take another hour maybe to explain what we can do, because we've seen the domain, but we didn't see like the infrastructure, controller and such.
So we won't take another hour, but if you would like to know how you can organize the infrastructure layer, meaning the persistence and the controller, you can see that talk, which is the Hive pattern, that fits well with Model Mitosis. And even if you want to have access to that, you can scan that QR code. You will have also access to the repository, the code repository of the talk. I was Julien Topçu. I'm a technical coach working at Shadow, French consultancy company.
And I'm Topçu Chevalier. I'm a tech coach at Shadow also.
So thank you very much. If you have any question, you can see us after the talk. Thank you.
Thank you.